say if you are doing a tantra practice, as is the case with so many of the listeners who are listening in, what is tantra practice? It's practicing upon a mantra, using a yantra. If you are abstaining, if you are keeping a sattvic diet intact, you're trying to also follow the yogic way. Will it add power to your practices?
So coming back to the fundamentals of tantra sadhana, the way I read from the text and the way I believe it works. So tantra believes in a graded form of practice. Okay, the initial stages, which is that it believes in what is known as dakshinachara tantra, the right hand path, let's say, for the sake of easier understanding. So there all these rules come into play. So you have restriction of food, what you are eating, you have restriction of physical intimacy, and baki jo whatever rules are there, all are there. But you have the liberty to use all mantras, all yantras, all tantras. Okay, everything can be done, but only in the sattvic manner. This is dakshinachara. Okay, and it's very popular in a lot of places in India. Large part of tantra sadhana that goes under practicing tantra, a lot of people actually do dakshinachara tantra. Okay,
I would argue that even any Hindu in India who's doing a puja at home is actually doing dakshinachara tantra.
So you have to understand this. So when you're doing a puja in home, you might be doing it in the Puranic method. So tantra comes into play when those mantras and yantras come into play. Without that, there is no tantra.
Gotcha. So what's a version of a sattvic yantra?
No, sattvic yantra nahi. So basically, you will need even to practice dakshinachara tantra, you need to have an initiation into it.
Okay, gotcha.
So that is the entry criteria. Okay. So without initiation also you may worship, but that worship there are restrictions that certain mantras cannot be done, should not be done, may have a counter effect on you.
So if I'm doing my Om Bhairavaya Namah jap, which I've learned from your video, am I not initiated and am I not doing tantra yet?
Let's say this is the preliminary stages. You are doing sadhana that is akin to tantra sadhana. But that is not fully tantra sadhana. Full tantra sadhana requires an initiation and a proper one. So here, for the sake of clarity to the listeners, when I say initiation, I don't mean upadesham. So there are two things. One is upadesham is an advice. So I tell you chant Om Bhairavaya Namah, or I tell anybody, that is an upadesham. Okay. Now for initiation is a puja that the guru will do, who's qualified to do, on a disciple. And the aim of the puja is basically so that specific individual from that point onwards will worship Devi, mostly Devi mantras, Mahavidya mantras and all that, there should be no obstacles in his path. This is called the Abhishek Diksha, and that is very important in Tantra.
There should be no obstacles in his path.
Yes.
Means
that you are starting off in the journey of sadhana. Say, suppose you want to do Ma Kali sadhana. So it's simple. Or Ma Tara sadhana. You go to a guru. The guru says, okay, you have fitness for it and all that. So on an auspicious day, he calls you. He does a specific puja in your name. You will be part of the puja, havan, and a lot of things will happen. And then he will give you the mantra after that. And say from now on, he will tell you what are the rules of the mantra, how to chant, when to chant, etc., etc. And the aim of the puja is basically, in his parampara, the deities he worships and the others, he's asking them that there should be no obstacles in the path of his sadhana. Let his sadhana go smoothly. Okay. And that is important when one enters into the realm of Mahavidya sadhana. Mahavidyas are very intense forces. That becomes important. Now, coming back to the question, after Dakshinachara, there is a stage that is Vamachara. There are certain tantric schools that don't go into Vamachara. They only restrict themselves only to Dakshinachara. But there are Kola Tantras which specifically mention, and there are very fantastic texts from 10th century, 11th century, a lot of them actually, text after text. Shastras are very clear on this, that after you master Dakshinachara, then you enter Vamachara. Vamachara is left. Vam means left. Okay. So this is where till now you are doing everything, but you are doing in a sattvic manner. So you are using the mantras. You have the right to do Mahavidya sadhana on this in Dakshinachara. Say you are doing Ma Tara or Ma Kali Upasana. You are doing the japa, you are doing mantra, anushtan, baki, everything is there except you are using sattvic ingredients for the puja. The moment you enter into Vamachara, you have to start using the Panchatattva. Panchatattva is where meat, fish, all these things will come into play. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. It has to be offered to the deity with the right mantra. The idea is that it's the natural course of development of Shakti that is happening in the Dakshinachara. Standard way of you are going. Now nature is saying that let's go the reverse way and see that whether your mantra works that way also. That things which you have denied yourself and said that no, this is wrong or this is dark. If your mantra and a sadhana is complete, it should work there also. If it is not complete, then it is only a partial condition. Like when I sit in the home in my asan, I feel very good. On the road, there is too much of traffic, I'm not feeling well. No, nature is saying at the end, everything is your home. You have to attain to perfection both in the light and the dark. You have to attain to perfection both in the sattvic and what technically people call rajasic or tamasic. Actually, the deities are neither rajasic nor tamasic. They are trigunatita. The texts tell you the Divine Mother is not sattvic. She is beyond the three gunas. She can assume sattva guna, she can assume tamaguna when the necessity of the activity demands it. When she has to fight an asura, she will attain that kind of capacity. And how can she switch these gunas? Because she is beyond the gunas. So you cannot become the mother, but you can at least aim towards that direction. This is the philosophical orientation why Vamachara came into existence and is very strong presence in the eastern part of India. From Kamakhya to Bengal to all, this is all somewhere or the other linked to Vamachara. In fact, in Tarapit temple and all, the bhog itself is fish and all is given to the mother daily. That's very standard. Nobody raises an eyebrow.
In Vamachar, when you're offering meat, are you also supposed to eat the meat?
Yeah, afterwards that's prasad. So here the rule is that if you are entering into that deity's domain, generally it is a good idea if the prasad comes to you not to be fussy about it. Why? If you are fussy about the prasad, then my first question is, why are you even in this path? So it is like I go to a friend's house, friend gives me some food, no, I don't want to eat the food. That's insulting to the friend, and this is not even a friend, it's a deity. So then you switch paths to something there you are comfortable with it.
The path of yoga teaches us that if you're eating meat, then you're also ingesting karmas.
Now, right, everything ingests karmas, I would say. Even your plant-based diet will also ingest karmas. But I use the term prasad. Prasad means something that has been sanctified by the power of the devata. Then it is no more, it's not about meat, it's not about vegetarian dishes, it's nothing. Prasad is a different category of thing. So, Sri Ramakrishna, Thakur Sri Ramakrishna, who was perhaps the greatest Kali Upasaka that ever lived in the last 200-300 years. Unse upar koi tha hi nahi. He was except alag hi level. So towards the end of his life, he used to eat very less food. He had cancer towards the end of his life because he took in the karmas of a lot of disciples and people, all sorts of karmas. And that's his kindness. That's the kindness of a saint. And he used to almost stop eating non-vegetarian food towards the end of his life. But whenever the Bali Prasad used to happen, Ma Kali temple Bali will happen. Prasad used to be there. He used to, even as a respect, he used to not only do a namaskara to it and then take a little bit and just put it in his mouth as a taste. In his younger days, he had all this. All at a later stage, when it came from within him somehow, and plus his health was also failing, he decided that he will stick to very less, not even vegetarian. Actually, the food that he used to eat towards the end was, normal vegetarians also won't be able to eat. So, because his health was also a little, but never did he ever disrespect the prasad that was given. Never did he ever say that you should stop the bali and all that. What is sanctioned in the Shastras is sanctioned in the Shastras. It is not based on your I like it, I dislike it. No. The reason why all this are given by the rishis, you find out what your tendency is. Accordingly, you do that. If you're not comfortable, why are you even stepping into that zone?
Yeah. I think that's the beauty of Sanatan Dharma in the first place, that you have options.
Absolutely.
And whatever we're talking about here is one path.
Exactly.
There are multiple paths.
Yes. And in this path, not only meat, not only sanctified alcohol is offered to the mother, by the way.
Is that also consumed by the Upada?
Yeah. It becomes prasad. In fact, I remember once I was doing a mantra of Devi mantra, which had just appeared in my mind. Some issues were going on. So I thought I'll just do one mala of it for 9-10 days. And I had a very fantastic result. And that inspired me to carry on the mantra. So there was a mantra I was chanting for a few days. And then at the end of it, after around 40 days of chanting, I visited a very old Kali temple. It must be at least 600 years old. It was in western part of India, which is not even eastern part. Okay, Rajasthan Kali temple. And it was a casual visit. I was visiting the city and I just went there. And I remember the Panditji was there. And I just put my hand like this. Charnamrita is given to whoever comes, prasado charnam. So he looks at me and he pours something in my hand. And I just consume it. And there's a immediate, like a tongue, that this is not water. And then I'm looking at him and then he's smiling at me. So this was a prasad. This was sanctified karan, we call it, which was offered to the mother. And then he gave me a bit of the prasad.
It was alcohol.
Yeah. But we don't use the word alcohol. We use the word karan because it cannot be randomly just picked up. So there are mantras and processes through which it is purified. And then only it has to be offered to the deity, mother. And after that, it becomes prasad.
Okay. But you're just supposed to have a bit of it, I'm assuming.
No, that depends. So there are processes depending on the sadhana that you're doing. The thumb rule is that you can never allow it to control you. Basically, so this is not a license to get drunk. In fact, the Kola Tantras mention this very clearly. It's a very beautiful verse which says that if only drinking alcohol was enough, then every, your bar would have been filled with siddhas. But at the same time, the text says that there is nothing beyond the Kola. It is the final state. And it is by Shiva's Agya that the Kola is there and it exists. And it says that once you enter the Kola path, it's different. It's different from your wife, from your friend, from your relatives, from everybody. You are fit for it, you will reach the highest possible realms. And if you're not fit for it, you'll fall. The Kola path is to be entered after lifetimes of practice in Tantra also. It's not even the first stage. And there, certain processes are there where you might have to consume more also. But the key is you need to have that self-control to know how much you can consume and how much you should not consume. Because after consumption, you'll have to sit and do mantra japa. You'll have to sit and do puja. There can be no flaw in it.
Damn.
Yeah. If I may add an anecdote to it, there was long
Please.
back,
We wait for these. But go on.
There was long back, before I even first came to Kamakhya, I had met one great Tantropasak whose advice helped me a lot. I was still struggling to find clarity in certain aspects. That man was terrific. He was a Upasaka of Ma Kali, and not just normal Kali, Smashan Kali, cremation ground form of Kali. So he had first told me that you have to start going to Kamakhya because your route will be from there. So he once described to me an incident. He used to sit, once in a while, he used to sit in sadhana. So it's like this, he will have a sanctified bottle of Karan and he makes offerings to the mother with it. And then he consumes that. And then he does mantra japa, and then again another one, then again another. After some time, and the funny part is that when he used to do that, normally what I've seen in the average course, when people consume alcohol, they start behaving in all sorts of manners which they end up regretting next day. This gentleman, the more he used to take, the more serious he'll become. He's not laughing around, he's not joking, nothing. It's like deeper and deeper into meditation is going. Deeper and deeper. And after some time, the aura of that place would change such that you will feel scared to even utter a word. He will not speak with you after that because his mind is going to the deity. There is a Shakti inside that thing, what we call alcohol. It is through mantras, he's using that Shakti as a boost to take his mind to the realm of where the deity is. But because it is very powerful, it has its negative aspects also, which is why in the traditional formal religion, it is kind of something that is, if we go by the laws of Manu Smriti and all that, or the other Dharma Shastras, they allow you to eat meat. But so far as this is concerned, it's strict banned. You just can't have this. But Tantra says, no, we change this through the mantras. We purify it. We offer it to the deity. And even today, whether it's Tarapet, whether it's Kamakhya, she is offered this. And after that, you take it as a prasad.
If you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out these curated playlists that we've made especially for you related to the subject that was spoken about in this clip.